everybody. It is time for the next lesson in the angles chapter. It is measuring and drawing angles. This is really the last part of this chapter. It'll take about a week to do. This is the protractor. I hope you have printed one out or found one or borrowed one or anything like that. Let's see, it's kind of backwards there for the camera, but a protractor has the angles all the way around. Smack middle is 90 degrees. We'll talk about that in a second. And then the bottom is a straight edge, which will help you draw straight lines when you draw your rays of your angles. And you notice there are two sets of numbers as you go around. Well, we're going to talk about that. The first thing when you look at an angle is you need to know what type of an angle it is. And we've talked about this a few times now. An angle can either be right, it can be acute, or it can be obtuse, and it can be straight too, but we'll talk about these three now. A right angle is always going to measure 90 degrees. An acute angle is always going to be less than 90 degrees. And an obtuse angle is always going to be greater than 90 degrees and less than 180 degrees. So if you know that an angle is acute, then you're going to know you're going to be looking at those numbers less than 90 degrees. If it's obtuse, you're going to be looking at those numbers that are more than 90 degrees. And you should be able to identify a right angle at this point. So let's look at these angles, and we will look at the protractor and try to measure the angles. This first one should look familiar. It is a right angle, or it was the best I could do to draw a right angle. The way you measure with the protractor is you see the middle, smack middle on the bottom, that line. That's going to go on the vertex. Remember, the vertex is where the rays meet. And you're going to line it up straight, so the flat edge is straight on one of the rays, and then you're going to see where the other ray falls, and as you can see, it is smack middle 90. So it's 90 degrees. That's angle ABC is equal to 90 degrees. If you were to line up, let's say, the other ray, you'll see that this ray also goes straight to 90 degrees. You can use either ray you want. When you look at this middle angle, it's angle DEF, you can tell that that's less than 90 degrees. You can tell that that's an acute angle. So when you measure, you're going to be using the acute numbers, the lower numbers. Again, you're going to get your vertex and your one ray lined up, and you're going to look at where this angle falls. It falls, you see it 140 and 150, that would be if it was obtuse. But since it's acute, it's going to be in between 30 and 40. It looks like it's kind of close to 30. I'm going to say it's 32 degrees. Does it have to be perfect? No. If you get close, if you get in the ballpark, that's going to be good enough for now. This last angle, and that's angle DEF. Angle HIJ, as you can tell, it's bigger than a right angle. It is an obtuse angle, so you're going to be using the bigger numbers, but it's the same thing. You're going to line up your vertex and your one ray and try to measure the other ray. And this looks like it's in between 120 and 130. To me, that looks like 125 degrees. So that is measuring angles. Again, you can measure on either ray you want. I could have gone like this and straightened it up this way and looked out here, and it would still give you the right answer. To draw an angle, same thing. You're going to start with the straight ray. You can use your bottom of your protractor to make a nice straight ray. And then if you're making an obtuse angle, or let's do an acute, you would line it up the straight line, and let's say I want to do maybe a 60-degree angle. You find the 60, and you're going to draw, and you have to kind of connect. And that would be a 60-degree angle. You can measure if you want to make sure, but that would be a 60-degree angle. If you were going to make an obtuse angle, same thing. You draw a straight angle first, or straight ray, and then you measure greater than 90 degrees. Let's say I wanted a 140-degree angle. You go to the 140, and then you do your best to connect. And then you have an angle that you drew. So the first day you're going to be measuring angles, we're going to give you the protractor. And then you're going to be using the protractor on your own, and then you're going to be drawing angles using a protractor. That's going to be on the assignment itself, and then you're going to have to use the protractor yourself and do angles. And again, we're just practicing here. This is like the first time you're exposed to this, it does not have to be exact, it does not have to be perfect. We just want to see effort. These are assignments you're going to probably be needing to upload pictures of so we can see how you draw, how you measure, and your work. Only a couple more chapters to go, only a couple more weeks to go, where everyone's doing great. Keep up the good work, and we will see you soon.